Just give me your take. First of all, how can a fraudulent, tyrannical so-called government that really is not for or by the people, but because a lot of you are blind, what makes you think that they can even do this? First of all, if it's unconstitutional, it's against the people, and it's not what the people sign on for, everything they're doing is moot. I just want to hear. You better believe something's about to happen to a whole lot of you folk. It don't matter what your ignorance or whatever. But I want you to listen to these individuals that was April 16th, I think, or 15th. And please, respond in kind.
Guys, I just came across a video claiming that the U.S. signed over their sovereignty in January in the Declaration of North America. I've done some digging. And while I can't see that actually occurred, at least not this year, maybe 10 years ago when these declarations were being signed for the first time with Barack Obama, but who knows. I came across some interesting things, though. Something we should take a look at. Maybe it's nothing, but let's see. The first thing that's really odd to me is this. Why is it that the leaders of North America are taking it upon themselves to conserve 30% of the world's land and water? And do we know what conserve means? Perhaps they meant preserve, or that's what they want us to think. But conserve is all about the resources. All three governments will be working together to promote targeted investments. This is where it starts to get scary because it talks about those minerals again, like they want to conserve for resources. But look at this. Each country is planning to map out potential reserves. We already know what a reserve is, right? It's where they take the land to reserve it from whoever has it already. All three countries are proud to have welcomed record-breaking numbers of immigrants within their borders, while somehow wanting to strive toward continental security. Again, pay attention, forced regional migration and displacement. But what's this at the bottom that talks about, what does that say? Oh yeah, interconnected systems for surveillance, epidemiological investigations, which, by the way, has to do with the distribution of diseases, border policies, and protection of infrastructure. These things stick out to me because as you read this, and I hope you do, I hope you go and you read the whole thing, none of these things that I've highlighted have anything to do with what they talked about in the bulk of the declaration. It's like it's just stuck in there at the end. And they don't want us to pay attention long enough to read things like this for ourselves, but I recommend you do.
I'm pleased to stand with my colleagues and other friends and great patriots that are interested in the sovereignty of America. And don't be distracted at this moment. Don't you be distracted. Let's not America be distracted by what's happening in this building or what's about to happen in this building behind us. As bad as that is, and it's bad, but as bad as that is, we can do two things at once. We can pay attention to the other things that are happening around the globe and in this country. And as we speak, President Biden is planning to cede the sovereignty of the United States of America to the internationalists and the World Health Organization. The ability to decide between you and your doctor what medicine you take or do not take, whether you wear a mask or not, whether you leave your home and where you go is all potentially being ceded by this President of the United States based on a signature, subverting and disregarding the Constitution of the United States, bypassing the Senate, saying it's not a treaty, doing the exact same thing that President Obama did with the Iran nuclear deal. That was bad then, and it's a precursor. It's a warning of what might happen very, very soon. So we're gathered here today to make sure that you're all aware of what we're all aware of, that we're awake, and that we make sure that President Biden is not allowed to just sign on our behalf, and that the Senate rejects any attempt by the World Health Organization to take away our individual medical freedom, our individual choices, our choices to move about our country, our community, our homes as we please. That is literally what is at stake right now. And then be forced to pay for it without even knowing what the bill is. It is unacceptable. The fact that we even have to have this press conference is breathtaking. But every single day you wake up and you say to yourself, well, what more can it be? I can't believe what just happened. They can't do anything else. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as bad as it is, and as bad as it is in dealing with this government taking away our rights every single day, just imagine how difficult it's going to be to drag our rights back away from some international organization of bureaucrats that aren't even elected, that don't care about America, don't care about our Constitution, and don't care about what we think. With that, I just urge that we do the right thing here, and I'll turn it back over to Speaker.
Yeah, you're after. I'm on something. Yeah. Okay. Y'all ready? Yes, sir. I want to thank the media for coming out today. This meeting is to, and I want to thank Senator Johnson, the congressman here who is standing behind me, to call attention to the World Health Organization and a meeting that's going to take place on May 27th in Geneva. The time to fight against the World Health Organization, which will do away with our ability as a nation to make our own decisions when it comes to vaccinations, when it comes to the pandemics that hit this country. We're not going to cede everything to China, which is what the World Health Organization will do. And get this, China is labeled as a developing nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the second largest economy in the world. It cedes power to China when we have got to fight China, which is our enemy. So here's what I'm urging everyone, you and the media particularly. We've got to demand transparency and a time to consider the new pandemic agreement and all the amendments. We need to have them 4 months in advance. We cannot have them like they're being presented. We got to demand the precise financial obligations of this treaty. They're calling for 5% for the United States to give to developing countries, including China, 5% of what we spend on health care. Somebody define that for me. The United States already gave $800 million this past year. We've got to oppose any inclusion of any language advocating censorship or government efforts to prevent misinformation and disinformation. The leader of that, folks, ladies and gentlemen, is China. We got to ensure that China cannot take advantage of special provisions intended for, quote, developing countries. And basically, we have got to object to anything that's agreed to by the Biden administration. As Senator Johnson will tell you, it goes back to the Senate where it takes a 2/3 vote. We've got to make sure the Senate has advice and consent as spelled out in the Article 2 of the Constitution. So we have got a list of speakers. I would like to call on Senator Johnson next, followed by Bob Good. Senator Johnson.
I just signed into law the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer. It's going to make the world safer. and it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it. It gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security, because when our allies are stronger, and I want to make this point again and again, when our allies are stronger, we are stronger. I'm grateful to all those in Congress, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, who voted for this bill. It's a path to my desk. It was a difficult path. It should have been easier, and it should have gotten there sooner. But in the end, we did what America always does. We rose to the moment. We came together, and we got it done.